Have you seen all the news about the changes, the recommendations by the EU for the future of cruising? We are going to go through our honest opinions about that. So stick around. We're going to be giving them thumbs up and thumbs down. Hi there, I'm Ilana, and this is my husband Frank, and we are from lifewellcruise.com, the website and blog. And some of you may know Frank if you've watched any of our cruise vlogs, because of course we do cruise together, and we have done that for years. But usually when I'm doing cruise tip videos or when I'm talking about the cruise news, it is just me. However, we decided that we would do this together because we have been talking about this subject for the last couple days in our household, and the subject or the topic is the EU document, this 49-page document that really is EU recommendations for cruising in Europe when it returns. So I think that's really a good thing, because at least it is information about when cruising restarts. However, there are definitely some difficulties, some limitations with it, some controversies, maybe even. So we've been talking about this in our house, and since it is Canada Day weekend and July 4th weekend and Independence Day, we have been keeping it super casual, and we just thought we would take a little break and chat with you about that in our backyard right now. So let's get started. We're going to go over all of the information, the main points of that document, and as well we're going to give you our honest perspective and opinion on these changes and whether or not we can realistically see if the CDC does make similar recommendations, if this comes to North American cruises like Caribbean cruises, if it'll be worth cruising. How are we gonna, would we cruise with these kind of changes?
Yeah, that's the big question. So let's discuss it.
That is a big question. So we're going to go over that now. And what we are going to do is we will, as we go through the points, just to make a little bit of fun, we're going to give it either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but maybe we'll try to keep it positive. Let me know in the comments below if there is a point in this document that you like. Please let me know in the comments below so we can kind of keep this positive, because I know we all want to be cruising. All right, let's get started. Okay, so what I did is I actually broke up a lot of this information into sort of 10 main points that we're going to talk about today. And these are the kind of things that might actually, some of them are controversial, some of them are not. And those are some things I think that it could be likely that they could come on over to cruises in the Caribbean, in North America, and they could end up being, similar to what CDC does recommend when cruising starts again, at least here. So right now, this is for European cruises. These are guidelines only. It doesn't mean that they will happen, but they are proposals. So the first thing is reduced capacity on cruise ships. So this is something that we've actually heard of before. We think it could probably happen, and we expect it. Cruise lines have even talked about it, right?
Right, yeah.
So that I think is expected. And as well, they also do talk about social distancing, and they recommend 1.5 meters, especially when inside, which also I think makes...
It sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the case of like where we live, we have to be 2 meters apart when we're in grocery stores.
So, we're already used to that. So I think it should be no problem to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree. So we are thumbs up on that, on the first point.
Yeah.
So the second point is no self-serve buffet. Also, we've had a lot of predictions about this. So I think we are all kind of used to the idea. If we can get on a cruise, if we can sail, we are good without a self-serve buffet.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, some people may not like that, actually, because I think some people prefer to be served.
Not to be served.
Not to be served and serve themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's true. Yeah. But it wouldn't be forever, right?
No.
And that's what we've
that's what we have to think about. The whole thing, in a way, is temporary, right? So if it gets us on a cruise and we can have fun, then, for a short time, maybe we can put up with a lot of these things.
I agree, and I think that's how that's what we talk about, but I think that's how we have to look at a lot of these things.
Yeah.
These are temporary things. These are not new normals, as Richard Fain from Royal Caribbean has said. These are temporary things, and these are what we're going through right now in this situation.
Yeah.
The
so,
third thing.
So on that, I'd say.
Oh yes, on that
thumbs up.
we
Yeah.
we both agree. We're
Yeah,
thumbs up.
absolutely.
So the next thing is, and we've briefly discussed this before, but is the recommendation is to do shorter sailings with fewer ports of call. So you had a bit of an opinion on that, and
Yeah,
like,
I guess I was just trying to figure it out a little bit. So like if you're doing like a 7-day sailing, I guess it's still a 7-day, but then instead of going maybe to 3 islands or 4 islands, well, you'd probably do 3, you may be doing only 2 islands, right? And then you'd be spending a little more time at sea. That's how I'm understanding it.
I think it could be.
Yeah.
But I think for people who like to cruise, I mean, and let's face it, at the beginning, when we all get back to cruising and
Yeah.
these first sailings, I don't think you're going to have people that are not cruisers that are going to take these sailings. So,
Right.
like if they said, hey, you're not going to these 3 ports you expected, you're going to go to a private island and you're going to have a lot of sea days and you're going to go to one other port, maybe Cozumel,
Right.
just as an example, or Bahamas, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I would be the same way. And like you said, maybe first-time cruisers would maybe not go for that option right now.
Yeah, and I think there are
Yeah.
a lot of flexible cancellation policies. So
Yeah.
I think if people are new to cruising or haven't cruised a lot or maybe
Yeah.
even have health issues or something, they are not going to be those first few people on cruise ships
Exactly. It's
anyway.
going to be the seasoned cruisers, and I think that a lot of us who like to cruise like to spend time on the ship, and we do love our days at sea. So if we have to
We do.
do that a little bit more, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
So we are
Yeah.
thumbs up on that one as well.
Absolutely.
Now, just to let you know, if you can, let me know in the comments, please, what aspects of this you really like. Now, of course, there's going to be some aspects, some recommendations that you don't like.
Yeah.
So you can also let us know what things are absolutely no-goes, that like deal breakers. But the things that you like, leave that below. I'd like to really, we both would like to really hear that. So next point is, and this is a proposal. And this basically says that people that are over 65 or people that have health conditions, that they see their doctor and they consult their doctor before going on a cruise. Now, it doesn't have an outright ban or anything on people of a certain age, so I think that's good.
Yeah.
But it does say people should consult their doctors, so I don't know what that's going to mean
But that's
for
just for
people.
themselves, right? Like it's not something that they have to bring some kind of doctor's note.
I'm not
How does
100%
that
sure.
work
I saw a
exactly?
couple of things. I saw some reports that said they don't need a doctor's note, and I saw other reports that said they would
Okay.
maybe need a doctor's note. So I'm not actually 100%
Yeah.
sure. I'll have to actually research that a little bit more because I've seen different reports. I
Okay.
think it's that they don't need the note, but they are recommending
To go
that they
see.
consult a
Okay.
doctor. To be honest, though, like if it was my parents, for instance,
Right.
I probably wouldn't want them at the very beginning if this situation, if this virus is still a problem. I probably wouldn't want them on a cruise, being completely honest, at the very beginning. I don't know. How would you feel about that?
I have to give that one some thought. I guess. I mean, if you're 65 and you're healthy, or you're 70 and you're healthy and you don't have any issues,
Yeah.
there's no reason you can't go on a cruise,
Well,
right?
maybe. I guess it's up
guess.
for every person to think about. But
Yeah.
that is the reason that they would be going to a doctor, is
Yeah.
to discuss their health conditions.
Yeah.
And I think that would be,
I guess
would
it
be
makes
for that.
sense.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
Well,
So-
so overall,
Yeah.
I'm sort of a thumbs up. I don't know.
I'll go. I'm leaning towards thumbs up on that one too. I am. Yeah.
The next point is screening at embarkation. So of course, health screenings, like we've heard before, that there would be like temperature screenings, and they are talking about the possibility of testing. So perhaps there might be even testing, if available, before the cruise. And that is something that Virgin Voyages, in their recent documentation, their recent notice that it's available on their website, they do actually talk about that in their health measures, that if testing is available, that might be something required for passengers. Crew, definitely, but for passengers.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense as well. I mean, like, I think it's better
Yeah.
to be tested, and because again, you don't want to have that problem again where someone carries, if they have the virus or whatever and they're not aware of it and they get on board, and
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts spreading throughout the whole ship again. I think we don't, I think we want to avoid that situation.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That
Yeah. So I think to have testing beforehand would make sense to me.
yeah, if it's available. And also
If it's
something to keep in
available,
mind is that, like, if somebody was going, for instance, on a land vacation, there are quite a lot of places that are actually asking now to have a COVID test a week or 72 hours before, and even to provide proof. So I think that this isn't out of the norm of something that might happen when cruises
Yeah,
resume.
and again, always keep in mind that this is a temporary thing. So if that's what you need to do right now, then I think it makes sense.
So even on that, I'm actually a thumbs up for it, because I think it'll make cruising safer, and I think that this is a good thing.
Yeah, anything to make cruising safer is good.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. The next thing that they talked about is masks. Now, I know this is much more controversial if people are willing to wear masks, and they do point out, like, masks wouldn't have to be worn all the time, but they did talk about wearing masks more than I actually thought.
Okay.
And I'll put a video just above and in the description where I talked about the 5 reasons why more than likely we're going to have to wear masks on cruises when they resume, if the situation remains like this. But they talked about wearing masks, like in hallways, like going to your cabins, in elevators. If you do take an elevator, they suggest actually not taking elevators, but if you had to, they talked about wearing masks on tours. So
Okay.
not all the time, but like if you couldn't social distance.
Right.
They talked about it on tenders, which that I guess I can understand.
And again, given the situation, I think it just makes sense again that you would need to wear a mask for these situations, where social distancing is not is not possible.
Yeah, the only thing is, and this is where I'll be honest, like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's what I want for my holiday. It's not because I disagree with wearing masks. Like, I do think that they can be helpful, and if I'm asked to wear one, and I will, but I just can't see myself wearing one for extended amounts of time. I could see myself for short periods of time.
Well, that's the feeling I'm getting. It would probably be on the most part, right? Like if you have to wear it, like, say, to walk from your cabin, to the elevator, and then and then go down to the shop or something like that, because you need to pick up something in the shop or whatever.
That's a good point.
And in those situations, you're close. You're going to be there's not, obviously when you go into an elevator, you won't be able to social distance, so you're going to need to wear it. But it might just be for the elevator ride down. But then or up, say you're going to the pool deck, maybe once you get there, you can take it off.
So that
and
wouldn't be
there,
as
a
bad.
wider space, whatever. So I think if it's for part of the time on the cruise ship, it seems to me that I could live with that.
I might be able to live with it.
I
I'll be
know.
honest. You can think something different than me, though.
Yeah,
It's totally
oh,
fine.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna let you give your thumb first, so that you're not influenced by mine. So,
Oh, I know you're going to probably say thumb.
so what's your thumb?
Well, I would say if you have to wear a mask, for short periods of time, like in an elevator or in a shop,
So is your thumb up or is your thumb down?
for a short period of time, occasionally on a ship where you might need to wear, I say thumbs up, because I think it's important, again, because you don't want to.
Okay.
But-
so yeah.
But I'm there's no way I'm going to be wearing one on the deck, taking a suntan, and to get these nice tan lines.
Okay, so we are sun worshippers. We love the
Yeah,
sun.
like, I'm
we
not
live in
gonna have
Canada,
the
and when we
tan
go on a
line.
vacation, if there's sun out, we like to take the sun. We like to be in the sun. So definitely, we do not want tan lines of a mask. That's where we draw the
Right.
line. Otherwise, if they ask us to wear it for part of the time, we reluctantly
Yeah.
give it a thumbs up. I reluctantly give it a thumbs up,
Yeah.
and that's the way I feel about it right now.
Yeah.
We're going to try to make this a little bit quick because the sun is going down here where we are. And like I said, we're kind of just doing this in our backyard this weekend. So the next point is they're talking about, he doesn't know about this one yet. I don't
Okay.
think he's going to be happy. They're talking about reduced passengers in the swimming pools. So actually
Yeah.
the recommendation is that every passenger should have 4 square meters around them of swimming pool space. Okay,
Wow.
and the hot tubs, they're also talking about the hot tubs.
Well, I was thinking, we were supposed to do an Alaskan cruise, right?
Yes.
That's probably easier to do on a cruise like that.
Oh yeah, that's true. So if we're cruising to Alaska, then we're totally fine with the space on the
Caribbean
pool.
is going to be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, in the hot tubs, you're saying you should only be with your like own family in hot tubs. And I'm like, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
But we have a hot tub like here in our own backyard. But when we go on vacation, I do socialize with other
Yeah.
people.
Well,
So-
that's going to be the hard part of everything, right? Because if there's a certain amount of social distancing, the whole socializing aspect of it,
it changes.
it's going to be difficult because you can sit with people you don't know in a hot tub and have some good conversations. That's part of cruising. So not to be able to do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another way around this.
Yeah, so
I-
I honestly, I'm going to give that a thumbs
yeah,
down. I'm
I
just going to
say
give it a
thumbs
thumbs down. I don't want cruising not to start, but I'm going to give it a thumbs down. And maybe I'll have to choose itineraries at the beginning that just don't
Yeah.
require being on the sun deck. I don't even know.
I don't know.
All right, let's go to the next point. And you let us know what you think in the
Yeah.
comments. So the next point is they're talking about this part. Actually, I'll be honest, I like it. They're talking about that on the ship that the cruise line should have a plan. They should be, first of all, testing, like on the cruise ship, if somebody is sick, if there's
Right.
indications that somebody isn't well, including crew. So I think that that's a good thing, is they should have that, and they should have like immediate reporting of that.
Okay.
So thumbs up on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's for safety. I think it makes sense
makes
given
sense.
the situation. Hopefully it's not going to be necessary forever, but that makes a lot of sense. Let's go to the next point, and that is that the cruise lines also are asked to have a plan for what happens if they do have cases.
Okay.
And part of that plan is going to be that they need to have 5% of the ship's capacity to be available to quarantine in isolation crew and or passengers that become ill. So instead of having to quarantine like the entire ship, they would quarantine those people that are ill. And I'm assuming perhaps people that are also in their cabin, they would have a space on the ship.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me then.
It does.
If they can do that, I think that's great. I think that's fantastic, actually.
Yeah, and again, I
Yeah.
hate to think about it when it comes to cruising. Like, I don't want to cruise with having all of this, but I think it's the
But,
reality. Like,
yeah.
we go to restaurants. Well, we haven't really yet, actually, but
No.
we're thinking of going to a restaurant. That'll happen next week. But we're starting to go out with these restrictions, with these things we probably never thought we'd see in our lives, but we are, and we have to still live.
Yeah.
So I think that given the situation, is a good thing. Another part of the plan is that they wouldn't just quarantine people forever on the ship. It's that they do have to have a plan in place for instance, the ports that they're going, that they can quarantine those people once they get to land, to have them quarantine
Yeah,
on
that'd
land.
be very important too.
So
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
having these, like, that was one of the things before cruising really paused, when we started to see a couple of cruise ships being quarantined. That was, I found, for us, we really thought, oh my God, it would be terrible to be quarantined on a cruise
Exactly,
ship.
and if you're going to start cruising again, it's the last thing you'd want. So
Yeah,
if
that
they can
would
put
be-
those measures into place, it'd be much better.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
would be the one thing
Yeah.
that for me would keep me from cruising, would be the idea that maybe we can get quarantined on a cruise
Yeah.
ship.
Oh yeah.
So it's not ideal.
But it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's better than being quarantined on a ship.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
So, in the
yeah.
end, are we thumbs up?
I'll go for thumbs up on that one.
It's a reluctant thumbs up because I just
Yeah.
don't like the situation. But it is a thumbs up because, for me, what I feel like with this, and I've seen a lot of people's comments about this, and some
Yeah.
people are saying, hey, like, these are just awful, terrible things. And other people are saying, well, you know what, it's not really so bad. And I feel like the positive thing we can take from this is that it's a plan. It's a part of a plan anyway. It's recommendations for a plan. And I think that this is all part of getting back to cruising and traveling and the life that we all love. So for me, I feel like that's a very big thumbs up. Now, let me know, please, and let Frank know what you think of these recommendations. If you think the CDC will make similar recommendations, what do you think that they should recommend? Let us know in the comments below. And please, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. And if you do have some things that you don't like about this this whole situation, please leave it in the comments. So still give the video a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. Now, I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook, and please feel free to connect with me there. And of course, please subscribe to the channel if you like cruise content like this. Thanks for watching, and happy future cruising.